Bangladesh is tottering. It appears to get more unstable and more uneasy really by the day. At best, is tottering towards an election that's been called for February of next year under strong political pressure and after some reluctance from Muhammad Yunus, the interim leader or the chief advisor as he is called. He had wanted a date later in June. But already questions are arising how fair this election could be and about difficulties leading up to it, both at the street level and constitutionally. And those questions arise from the legality of the present government or really the lack of it. And those are the questions that lie beneath the apparent show of granting it legitimacy that we saw. Sheikh Hasina took oath of office in January of 2024 as Prime Minister, which was under the Constitution of Bangladesh. She was forced to flee then in the face of mob violence in August last year, but has since reminded the people of Bangladesh in an open letter that she has not resigned. Yunus replaced her as chief advisor in a second oath-taking ceremony in August of last year, and that is being challenged. A London lawyer has raised legal questions about the very legitimacy of the current administration and consequently, therefore, all of its actions.
According to Article 57 of Bangladeshi Constitution, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has not resigned. And following her resign, a new Prime Minister has to be elected. Nothing happened. Actually, Prime Minister had to leave her office because of the mob violence for her own safety. So the very government which took power, which is called themselves government, the current administration, is not a constitutionally, lawfully elected or selected administration or government. Therefore, it is illegitimate.
The present administration is taking decisions that appear clearly unconstitutional. The supposedly progressive Muhammad Yunus has silenced the opposition officially. He's issued an executive order to suspend the registration of the Awami League with the Election Commission and to ban all of its political activities, which then means the party will not be allowed to contest the scheduled February election. The Yunus administration claims, on the one hand, that the Awami League, which is still led by Sheikh Hasina, who is now in exile in India, has no support at all. But then, on the other hand, it seems afraid of putting its claims to the election test, which is undemocratic, obviously, but also arguably illegal.
According to Bangladeshi Constitution, you cannot restrict or ban any political party like this. Bangladesh Constitution actually allows anyone and everyone to express their free will and exercise their political thoughts. They can form a political party, they can express their political views, and they can be a member of a political party. And so doing politics according to Bangladesh Constitution is lawful, constitutional, rather banning is unconstitutional and illegal.
The Yunus administration, for all of its progressive projections, is clearly under the spell of Islamist groups and parties. The Jamaat-e-Islami, which is the largest Islamist party in Bangladesh, has revived itself dramatically under the present administration, and the Islamists from this and other groups such as the Hizb ut-Tahrir very clearly prevailed upon the administration to ban the Awami League that had, when in government, kept these groups under check and under restraint. Islamists have taken out now huge rallies aimed particularly at Hindus and Hindu groups such as ISKCON. Attacks on Hindu temples multiplied after the change in government. These groups have now a degree of tacit support also from the quasi-Islamist Bangladesh Nationalist Party led by Khaleda Zia. In early November, the rights group Adhikar listed close to 300 people killed since the current administration took over. Islamist groups are now calling for a ban on minority religious groups, and they are demanding a ban also on music, on physical education, and on girls' sports events in schools. Yunus has made an attempt to declare a progressive agenda. This was through the July National Charter, as it was called, and that was routed through Bangladesh's Consensus Commission that he set up. That charter seeks to give the interim government a constitutional basis. It was signed with a flourish at a ceremony outside of the Parliament building in Dhaka on October the 17th, and this charter does promise a democratic state and the rule of law, but that's not what we've seen. The signing ceremony, in any case, was boycotted by the National Citizens Party, formed by leaders of last year's uprising and four leftist parties. They stayed away precisely due to a lack of a legal framework for implementation of this declared charter. Street violence broke out widely at the very time the consensus agreement was being signed and displayed, a vivid sign that consensus there is not. So far, the government has been unable to push through many of the Consensus Commission's recommendations. Fundamentalist and radical groups are determined to have it their way. They have not encountered a great deal of resistance from Yunus, quite the contrary.
This government is appointed by radicalists. This government, previous government, is ousted by fundamentalist extremists. They have declared it now officially. They have no fear to declare this. They are living in Bangladesh. They don't see the world around. But everybody is looking at this. ISIS is there. Hizb ut-Tahrir is there. Islamic Chhatra Shibir are there. All these are international law criminal extremist Islamist organizations.
The actions of the government, and as the law stands, its very existence, could, strictly speaking, legally speaking, be challenged in the courts. But the judiciary seems firmly now in the hands of the government. Challenging the government in the courts is now practically impossible, though of course ideally it should legally be possible.
By all means, legally it is possible, but there is no freedom in judiciary. They bring down justices, chief justices, appellate division justices, judges from the seat because they simply don't like, because they are not pro-radicalist. They are not supporter of those Jamaat Islami, Islamic Chhatra Shibir, things like this. So it is their choice. They create fear, and judges actually, for their fear of their own life, safety of their own life, they resign. So there is no freedom of fair justice in Bangladesh. Judges don't have that freedom to deliver free justice.
Amidst all this political chaos, Yunus was expected to get the economy right. But beneath the apparent normalcy on the streets, the economy is under severe strain. Inflation is above 10% and rising. The World Bank has cut its forecasts for the growth rate of Bangladesh to 3.3% for this financial year from 4.1% earlier. The political strains are showing on the streets, and not just at protest rallies. Everyday living is coming under greater and greater stress. Politically, conflicts and confrontations are rising ahead of the elections in February. Nobody is certain whether those will bring a change for the better, or whether the change will be legal under the law as it stands, or even whether the law as it stands counts for very much at all.